This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm going to present to you in moments yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories that you may have missed with a little extra context to it. As our teaser graphic shows, if you're watching a video presentation of this, we're going to talk about Thomas the Train Engine, or Fisher-Price toys specifically, plus 7 other stories that you vetted as conversational stories, and I curated for the morning. We'll explain the full vetting process at the end of all the headlines, and then bring you some fun today things to wrap it all up. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Make sure you stick around for all that. And if you want more information about how we do things every single day, our website is thisistheconversationproject.com. Visit that for more details, and we'll hype ourselves up later as well. Right now, 8 stories for you, 8 headlines that were vetted by you and created by me. Today happens to be Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Let's get into those headlines for this morning. Our first headline reads like this. Israel's war on Hamas sees deadly new strikes in Gaza as U.S. tries to slow invasion amid fear for hostages. Very long read into that one, but this is something that was posted fairly early in the day on Monday and is the real truth of what's going on. Of course, last night there were 2 more hostages released, or yesterday in over there in real time. And this morning, as I prepared to work on things here, one of those hostages was doing a press conference. The audio was kind of weird, but they stuck with it as much as possible. She was talking about the ordeal she went through to happen in being kidnapped, and the fact that her husband still being kidnapped, still held hostage in Gaza. Very deep, very sad story, and very big details, but showing the real of the situation right now. There are no great guys in this, but if you want to pick a side, Gaza apparently is doing its thing, and doing its thing in a bad way. You can feel sorry for anyone in this situation, including, in some cases, even the Iranians. But what you're looking for as a case of, why this thing is happening, you got the point of Hamas and how this is happening. Now, the U.S. is trying its best to slow down the invasion of Gaza, because apparently Israel just wants to go in there and wipe the place out, saying, all you people who think you're innocent, move to the south and figure it out, because we're coming in to blow away the Hamas and just take care of it completely. We know you can never really blow away one group to completely, because something always happens from that. The U.S. is trying its best to tamper down the invasion of Gaza, not so much tamper down what's going on, because they can't do that. We'll see how well this goes and if any more hostages come through, because the hostages right now are what's keeping Hamas from being plastered for all practical purposes. Our next headline goes a little bit even deeper off the deep end. Au pair charged months after fatal shooting of man stabbing of woman in Virginia home. This was pulled from USA Today, and a 23-year-old au pair was arrested and charged in second-degree murder and a homicide at a family's home in Virginia. Another victim, Christine Banfield, 37, was found in the home with stab wounds in the upper body. They've not identified the suspect yet in connection to Banfield's death, but are leaving the options open and are interviewing people to learn how she was stabbed. A 911 call was made where Piers Magnizza, totally butchered that, said a friend was hurt and her husband claimed an unknown male had stabbed his wife. Banfield was found dead from multiple stab wounds, and Ryan was found dead from golden shot wounds. The 4-year-old daughter was not permanently harmed, and the au pair has been arrested for this, but they believe there's another suspect to be dealt with in this one. This is going to be a true crime fantasy coming true very soon, I'm sure, in some sort of podcast. Let's move on to this story, which has some implications on what it used to do in the Air Force. Lockheed exit U.S. Air Force tanker competition, lifting Boeing KC-46. Lockheed's pulled back from the competition, gives Boeing a boost to increase its chance of winning the program, despite years of costly mistakes in the existing fleet of KC-46's tankers. Essentially, they've made bad tankers. All the planes in the last decade or so have been sort of not so great, and so the other companies vying for the use, or the use by the air military going in there, have a little bit of an edge in this one, a big edge go back to Lockheed, because they actually have planes. Lockheed said it will shift its tanker team and resources to other programs, including the next generation air refueling system. Now, air refueling is one of the things that keeps air power going, and this is something that really hits dear to my heart, because I dealt with acquisitions and buying large things like this and the program life of things like this. The amazing thing I tell people about my Air Force life is first thing you go in on day one of a program, you got to figure out how the guy 10 years from now is going to maintain it, and the guy 5 years after that has to actually kill the program. And this is essentially what you're seeing here. Bad planes mean more pro planes in the running to get this job. And when one company pulls out, it means the other guys have a chance to fix itself. So hopefully this will be fixed. I'm very proud of Air Power and very proud of what they do out there. Fisher Price recalls over 20,000 Thomas and Friends toys due to a choking hazard. Fisher Price is recalling the toys due to choking and magnet ingesting hazards. Very bad. Toys have a small plastic piece containing a high-powered magnet that can detach and become loose, posing a choking and magnet ingestion hazard. Yes, choking is bad on its own, but ingesting a magnet means very, very serious things for your digestive system and serious issues for children. The push-along wooden trains are designed to look like characters from Thomas and Friends, called the Troublesome Trucks. They have faces on the front of them and model numbers on the bottom, being recalled to save kids from this issue. If you have one, check it out. They're going to give you a full refund once you turn it in. And the news continues on a sad note. This one not quite as dire, but still pretty sad. The world's oldest dog has died, named Bobby. A purebred Ruffalo del Ontario Portuguese dog passed away on Saturday at the age of 31 years. 165 days. Almost 32 years old was this pup. So we are mourning the loss of the world's oldest dog. No one has, I guess, a bead on who the current world's oldest dog is. I guess we'll find out that soon so we can follow his life, her life, in luxury for the next couple of years. Are you tired of Halloween? As an adult, here's the thing. Nearly 2/3 of Americans say they aren't dressing up, from a Yahoo YouGov poll showing. Seeing YouGov and Yahoo gets all mixed up. But Yahoo Entertainment gave us this story from the Yahoo YouGov poll. Data showing that most adults aren't actually donning on costumes this year, mainly because adults are kind of over it. It's kind of been a big year going on. And so what's saying it's a sign of something deeper, because Halloween is becoming a bit of a drag for many reasons. The poll says that 70% of participants are making their own costumes, though, 8% buying them, and 2% reusing previous costumes. So if you're into the DIY going forward, it's there. Now, this article goes deep into relationships and dating relationships, and how if you're a couple, do you dress together? What happens if you want to dress up and your hubby doesn't, or vice versa? And it's saying that healthy relationships are very balanced, where they work together and make a costume, which means a lot of Barbie and Ken costumes for this season. By the way, the National Retail Federation projects $12.2 billion in Halloween spending. 73% of Americans are participating in Halloween-related events, so it's big money regardless whether you're dressing up or not. Those who dressed up for the movie Killers of the Flower Moon did not make much of a dent in the box office this week, as the Eras Tour movie wins the second week in a row, not quite hitting box office records again, but blowing out Killers of the Moon in the opening weekend. The early numbers for Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour brought in $31 million, while only $23 million for Killers in the Flower Moon debut. So we will see how that plays out. Right now at $129.8 million domestically for the Taylor Swift concert movie. We will see how this one plays out going forward. And if someone has a chance to knock off Taylor Swift next week, Smith got the words all mixed up. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. Our next story. Mark Ruffalo, Jessica Chastain, Quinta, Brunson, and more call for Biden to propose ceasefire in Gaza and Israel. We pulled this headline from the Deadline.com website, from their website, because many actors wrote onto this open letter to Joe Biden. It's a headline that actually spanned many different publications, so you can see it all over the place. And what caught my attention was on Twitter, as Quinta Brunson was getting much praise for literally being a black woman putting her name to a cause of this size. And the cause is a pretty big cause. What they are asking, and you can go to many of the links to find out who all signed this letter, they're asking for the United States to ask for a ceasefire, essentially to pull a ceasefire in Gaza and Israel. Now, Israel's saying there is no ceasefire coming because you know what happened, but they're saying the United States stance on this should not be so much a big support for Israel, but a support for just straight up peace and not shooting each other. This will probably not make a dent in the universe going forward, but this many actors putting their names to this statement and not so much saying, the Palestinians should be left alone, which is kind of what make things kind of where the weak sauce comes in with these things. Coming to the fact that saying both sides need to come to some sort of agreement where they can stop shooting each other is a big deal. By the way, we'll get to this we'll have something else in the omissions. We had a teaser story. We had a story yesterday posted that was a big hit on the TikTok and on this YouTube Shorts about Dave Chappelle talking up in when he got heckled in his stand-up last week over his comments on Hamas and Israel and the thing going on there. And this thing is still blowing up as well. No reaction inside of the feeds here, but the little video was there. We should have put that in the errors and omissions, but it's attached to this, so we're talking about it here. We'll talk about our errors and omissions, which is a whole other story, and that is that McDonald's is giving out free fries every Friday for the rest of the year, but you've got to look up to see how it's happening. There is a trick to that. Check out any article you see on McDonald's and free fries from now until the end of 2023. Free fries for everyone. That's what we're not talking about, even though I just talked about it just now. Right now, I'm going to talk about the feeds and how the stories get in here. As I said, I'm sort of perplexed that the Dave Chappelle story was not worthy of being in conversation, but the story on the artist who wrote the letter for the ceasefire is, and things like that. The dog knew that was happening. How do you get stories into the feeds? How do you get stories into the show here? It's extremely simple. You just watch the feeds. Our feeds are our links on Facebook and Twitter, our pages that go out on Facebook and Twitter, and they are facebook.com/this is a conversation project and twitter.com/th_conversation or x.com, same thing. And if you go there, you will see we post news stories all day long. About every 50 minutes or so, we post a news story for you to ingest and take in. And as you ingest it and take in, we ask you to do what you do to want to engage in it. Let us know that it's interesting. Hit the like, hit the love, hit the hate thing, share it with some folks. The higher engagement the score gets, the better chance of talking about it the next day. So for Tuesday through Friday, we have 8 stories for you in the headlines, unless we cheat a little bit. And we get those from the top 15 stories of the previous day. Monday, we give you 10 stories from top 30 of the weekend. It's that simple. If you want to talk about this story, which is a bit of a overage, if you will, but the Daily Mail has a very long headline. We didn't put the whole headline in the posting. So the full read is Britney Spears goes for Ryan Seacrest! Host becomes latest target of Star's explosive memoir as she slams in for focusing on, quote, whether she was a fit mother, unquote, rather than her album in 2007 interview. Britney Spears is talking about all sorts of things. She is coming with receipts for everybody and saying, yo, here it is for reals. It's turned into an actual Eminem song where Britney Spears is essentially telling all to everybody. And Ryan Seacrest is just one of many people who's being blasted in this book. There are many articles out today, a lot about Jamie Lynn Spears, her little sister, who, of course, had her show taken away because she got pregnant as a teenager, and just all sorts of conservative shift stuff where she basically she tried to talk about it in an interview overseas and it got edited out. She talked about how she hated being on X Factor because she had stage fright. There's a lot going on in this memoir, as you do to try to sell the book. Right now, she's going after Britney Spears. At least that's what we're putting out there. If you want to talk about Ryan Seacrest being blasted by Britney Spears, and I'm sure many other folks have reasons to blast him, just vote this one up by engaging it in the feeds. When you see it in your feeds, and you may have to scroll back and forth whenever you're watching this video, whether it's live or whether it's a few hours later, you may have to scroll looking for this one because it may have been there for a while. Engage in this one. Let us know this is what you want to talk about. We're going to talk about a great sponsor again today, and that is Sports Integrity. Sports Integrity offers great memorabilia for both sports stuff and Hollywood stuff. If there's an actress, an actor, a movie you love, they probably have something that's there. If it's a sport, an athlete that you love, it's probably something you have there that they have by them. And they have authentication that is way, way beyond just the general level. They can give you authentic, good stuff, great memorabilia in sports, in entertainment, and guarantee it. So check them out at our link for our affiliate link. This is a conversationproject.com/sportsintegrity. This is a conversationproject.com/sportsintegrity. We get a cut from whatever you buy, and it's not overinflated prices. It's just a bit of piece for being the concierge to bring into the store. So check them out. If you're looking for that thing because it's football season and baseball is in full effects for the postseason, One team's already in the World Series. Who will be the next team in? And of course, basketball and hockey on the tip pretty soon, and tip in the face for face-off. So you can get all your great sports stuff. The nexus of all the sports here in October, November, where everything sort of comes together in preseason basketball and hockey and postseason baseball and football is here. So if you're looking for something to add to your office, to give to a friend as a gift, Sports Integrity may have it. Check them out at this. It's theconversationproject.com/sports integrity. Check us out at our home online at the Conversation Project's website. This is theconversationproject.com, where you can find how we do the Conversation Project every single day. Every day, you can find out how we're doing things for our love of news, love of sports, love of entertainment, love of information, and how it turns into a not so much profitable, but a working side hustle, side gig. It works. We'll say that much. You can help us work more by visiting our feeds on Facebook and Twitter and telling us what to talk about, putting my words out there for the folks as you pick out the stories we pick every single morning. You can also go to our email address and visit us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com, because that's how you can tell us other things about us, and visit our partnerships page at our website and connect with us for greater connection, more work, more things going further. We thank you so much in advance for all the hard work you do, the feed stuff, and anything you want to give to us in any sort of feedback, especially for those who are partnering up with us directly. And with that, we're going to wrap things up here at the tip end. I don't know what that's all about. But today, starting off with our birthday celebration for giving love to Drake, 37 years old, the rapper, the actor, the R&B star, formerly known as Aubrey, formerly from the old back Degrassi Junior High, that's sort of the whacker years. Now, one of the most influential names and voices in hip-hop, he is, whether you like it or not. And some people say he's kind of soft, kind of weird. We talked a few weeks ago about him hanging out with Millie Bobby Brown. Drake is Drake. You can't stop it. You can only hope to be around him and hang out with him in his puffy shirts. Drake, 37 years old on this day, October 24th. Back in 1940, the 40-hour work week went into effect in the United States. So the 40-hour work week is only, 80 years old. So it's never been obviously Jesus wasn't out there, working 40 hours a week and saying, yo, disciples, make sure your timesheet's in there and put out your TPS reports. So it wasn't always a thing. But it turned into a thing back in 1940 where there was a better way to kind of handle essentially slave labor of many companies who were people literally to death. The 40-hour work week began on this week, and now we are totally abusing it by working over those hours and sometimes not paying people for their worth. Speaking of which, today we're celebrating Take Back Your Time Day. Take Back Your Time Day is our celebration for this day, and it is annually on the 24th of October, pivotal initiative designed to combat prevalent issues for overwork and time poverty in North America. That's us. The rest of the folks, they can do what they want to. It's a day dedicated to awareness about the detrimental impacts of life overwhelmed by work with little to no time for leisure, relaxation, or personal pursuits. The initiative seeks to foster a balanced lifestyle, emphasis on importance of time for oneself, and highlights the repercussions of time stress on our physical and mental well-being, relationships, communities, and environment. Now, not so much controversial, but it is a thing where some people just like to work. I personally like doing work, and things that are fun to me tends to be looking at data on spreadsheets and kind of working in details and editing videos where it's really detailed stuff. It's something that I like to do. So work and time is kind of getting mixed up. But at the same time, we talk about the 40-hour work week and actual what you're being paid for by an employer, by a real agency, what's making you money versus what you do on your own is your own thing. So working more for the man or working more for yourself, whether it's paid or not, is kind of where the balance is. Take Back Your Time Day means take some time to evaluate how you're actually working for the man and how you're using the time you have for yourself. Finding a little bit more balance. Balance will never come, unfortunately. You'll never get true balance, but you'll get a chance to get better at the better at parts. With that, we're going to wrap up for this day, Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Thank you so much for those who joined in live this morning. Special thanks. I saw a thumbs up from my boy Josh. Thank you so much for being a part of the family yourself. Take good care of yourself and your family. And if you're out there, send me some remarks on who you are and where you are and how you're checking us out. Whether it is live, we do this at 5:50 a.m. every single weekday morning, Central Time, of course. And then it's, of course, in replay version on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and the videos, as well as an audio version on podcast and the newsletter, which is just the link. So you don't have to see my face, hear my voice. You can get them all about 6:20 every single weekday morning. Check that out. In the meantime, thank you so much for being with us. Go to our feeds and vote up the stories we're talking about tomorrow. Email me at the conversation inbox at gmail.com and tell me what I need to talk about. Visit our partnerships page if you deem us worthy, and stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you are on this planet to do. We are done. We are out. We're wrapping up the Tuesday, at least this part. Look for more things on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts for interjections of some new stuff. And prepare for another edition of things you might have heard that's going to come tomorrow morning.